Hi everyone, Chad Burton, CEO of Curo Legal, here to talk about building a team for a virtual law practice. We've talked about other subjects like technology and marketing, et cetera, but this is going to be the hardest part about running a virtual law practice is your team. And if you've run a business before, or you've been a part of another firm, or you ask a business owner, this is hard. The people part of this is hard. And this is, I know, a very positive way of starting this out, but it can be very rewarding at the same time. But the point is, I want you to spend a lot of time thinking about the right way to build out a team for a new practice. Now, virtual law practices can be, you can be a solo, but you still need a team if you want to think about effective delegation. And we'll get into delegation in a little bit here, but the idea of running an effective business, you can't do everything yourself. There's always a way to outsource or push something off to somebody else, whether it's another lawyer, it's a paralegal, it's a partner, and maybe doesn't have the traditional feel of delegation, but it's somebody else to help you out, help you grow. So I really want to hit on some major themes that are important for purposes of running a business in general, but also play nicely into the virtual law world, because if you are going to have a team of virtual law, a virtual law firm with multiple people, you're not going to be in the same building. I mean, it creates different dynamics. So you have to really think about who you're working with, if they're the right kind of fit for the type of firm that you want to grow. Let's start with choosing lawyers that could be part of your team in a virtual law practice. This can be a challenge because as lawyers, we have strong personalities, a lot of type A personalities. We have a lot of solos out there, but virtual law practices are opportunities where you can work remote from one another, so you get to really retain a lot of the benefits of a solo practice, but you get the benefits of having a team and collaborating with others that are within your firm. I don't want to go on too much of a tangent, but think about this concept in terms of fee splitting. We know that our ethics rules generally prohibit splitting fees with lawyers outside your firm, but if you have lawyers within your firm, it's fair game. You can create compensation structures that allow you to each help grow practices and grow the firm in general. So that's one of the things I really liked when I was starting my own virtual law practice was I liked the independence of the solo world, but I also like collaborating with others. And that was key for me. And using something where you can have lawyers in a couple cities away or lawyers in other states halfway across the country, but you can still collaborate real time using the technology and other tools that we'll talk about later. So that said, you still have to really think through who you're choosing to be part of your team. And what kind of firm do you want? Are you going to be the person that drives all of the business into the firm? Or do you want a firm that is very entrepreneurial in nature? So it's not you plus a bunch of worker bee lawyers, it's you plus others who are driving business that may have different practice areas than you, may have different skill sets than you, may be better lawyers than you, and there's a good way to work together. That helps drive things like compensation structure, how you are going to label team members. Are these people that you're going to bring in as partners? Are they going to be W-2 employees? Are they going to be independent contractors? All of those go towards firm culture and how you want to develop this. There's not a right answer on it. It really depends upon, again, what kind of client are you serving? Are you driving is this like a consumer-based practice that you want? That you can drive all the work because you have a name in the area and you just need people to help execute? That's great. They don't have to be in your office. They can be anywhere. Or is this hey, we want to have a full-service business firm. Maybe you're the IP lawyer, but you need a litigator, you need a corporate lawyer, et cetera. Those are different ways of structuring, so you really need to think about that. The other, when I was talking about classifying lawyers as partners versus contractors and employees, and this is tough, and A lot of people won't self-identify with this, but it can be really tough for people to work remote, especially if they're used to a traditional office environment. Making that transition can be harder than one expects. So you really need to spend some time with these potential teammates understanding, are they the right kind of fit for a virtual law firm practice with you? And they may think they are. They may think the freedom of working whenever fits their world. They may think they're the most entrepreneurial person in the world to be able to go out and drive business, but they might not have that skill set, and that's tough. You're not always going to be able to identify that up front, but really spending a lot of time kind of on the vetting process is really important, because unlike a traditional firm, you're not going to be in the office next to this person to understand what they're doing day in and day out. You may have folks that feel that they're lawyers, they've got drive, but then you put them in an environment where there's really not, and not that we like micromanaging, nobody likes that, but what if they don't have to show up to the office at a certain period of time? They don't have to get the have the drive to get the work done. Client service can suffer as a result. So this whole vetting process and what kind of team you want is really important on the lawyer side. That is, if you want to add lawyers on a more full-time basis. Another option, which is something I like that we've really gotten into, is the idea of using freelance lawyers, contract lawyers. So use them for project basis, and think about it from the, okay, I don't need to hire somebody in full-time, or bring somebody in as a partner full-time. I just need somebody to help execute. So you have freelance lawyers that you can manage. They could do the work. You farm the work out to them. They're doing it at a cheaper rate, and you can bill them out higher to the client at the end of the day, and you can actually earn money off of them like you would a lawyer within your firm. That's a different way of thinking about it. So you can maintain a smaller either core group or solo practice and only add lawyers and scale as you need. We talked about how to bring lawyers into the team. What about the people that really run the firm, the legal assistants, the paralegals, the bookkeeping crews? How do you bring those into a virtual law firm world? So think about the traditional model. You hire people. You hire staff, whether it's part-time or full-time W-2 employees. Part of the change in our economy, we're seeing more options. Again, contracting options. Outsourcing is not the horrible word that it used to be. So this works well in the virtual model. You don't need to hire in W-2 employees. Look at ways of contracting out for virtual assistants, virtual paralegals, virtual bookkeeping. Again, these are folks that are trained to help lawyers and help deliver and support the work you're doing. Whether it is something, electronic filing, whether it is formatting documents, whether it is doing research projects that you put out there, whether booking travel. This is all about delegation. Remember, I know this is tough for us because as lawyers we think we can do everything, but we can't. And the more you try to do everything, the less your business will grow. So these are good ways to delegate out at much cheaper rates. And at contract rates, the beauty of starting a firm, you don't know what your workflow is going to look like. So why not have a situation where you've got a full-time employee? You don't want a full-time employee that you're responsible for that salary, or even a part-time employee. If you use contract work, it scales with your work. You have a really busy month where you're pushing out projects to a virtual paralegal. Well, guess what? You're going to pay that virtual paralegal more, but you've also earned more money that month. If the next month is slow, guess what? That virtual paralegal doesn't get that work. I do want to highlight one really good service called Ruby Receptionist. They're a virtual receptionist service that your law firm phone number gets forwarded to, and they answer and direct callers as you want them to, whether it goes to an office phone if you have one, at a home office or a kind of a temporary office, or it can get directed to your cell phone, or you can give them instructions to say, hey, at 9 o'clock, the court's going to call and ask for me, but really direct them to this other lawyer in the firm because they're going to handle the call. Very cool things that make you look like a larger business than perhaps you are. So to conclude on the idea of building a team, it's not easy. It's going to take a lot of time, but really think about the idea of using contractors for scaling. Whether it's a freelance attorney or a virtual assistant, virtual paralegal, it fits nicely within the virtual law firm model, especially if you're starting a new one. Those services scale, and they're mobile, just like you are. So it's a perfect way to effectively delegate and help grow your business.